Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, Sloka 66, Part 91. Sarva-dharmān parityajya, ekaṁ śaraṇaṁ vraja, ahaṁ sarva-pāpebhyo, mokṣayiṣyāmi ma śucaḥ. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. In the last section, we learned how when a person rejects the instructions of the consort of the Lord, then she corrects that person by her grace. Likewise, when the Lord doesn't listen to her instructions, he corrects him through her beauty. One must not wrongly think that Krishna is also like us, like the human, where one get attracted to the opposite gender out of lust in the name of love. His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami has written a beautiful article in a magazine called Back to Godhead in 1974, titled as "Who is that girl with Krishna?" In that article, Swami says, everyone naturally wants to enjoy, yet no one is fully independent in finding enjoyment. To satisfy our desires, we need the association of others. We use the expression to enjoy oneself, but we enjoy ourselves most in good company. Indeed, most people would find prolonged solitude practically unbearable. Krishna, however, the Supreme Lord, being the source of everything, is fully independent. He is independent in his existence. His knowledge and his pleasure for everything rests upon him as pearls are strung on a thread. Krishna therefore needs no one, since in one sense he is everything. No one exists outside of him. Consequently, when Krishna wants to enjoy, he expands the potency or energy within himself that gives him enjoyment. This potency is a person. Her name is Srimati Radharani. Radharani is not a different person from Krishna, or rather, she is both one with and different from him. A question may arise, how could two people be one person or one person be two? We already saw the example that was given by Mother Sita and Lord Rama themselves. And we are going to see that for the fourth time now. Ananya rahavenaham bhaskarena prabhayata. This is Sita Vakyam. She said, I am not separated with Raghava like the sunshine with the sun. And what did Rama say? Ananya hi maya Sita bhaskarena prabha. Sita is not separated from me, as the sun and its luster cannot be separated from each other. We say, the sun is in my room, even though the sun itself is 93 million miles away. Because the sun appears in the form of its energy, we say so. Therefore, the energy, the sunshine, and the energetic, the sun, are simultaneously one and different. Similarly, Radha and Krishna are simultaneously one and different. Krishna, the self-effulgent Lord, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Srimati Radharani is his Supreme Pleasure Energy. Together, they constitute the complete absolute truth. One cannot understand anything about Radha and Krishna through mental speculation. Krishna and his potencies are achintya, inconceivable, and ananta, unlimited. He is the very source of the mind itself, and therefore is beyond the mind. The limited mind cannot understand the unlimited personality of Godhead. The Vedic literature explains this very logically, that which is transcendental to material nature is inconceivable, whereas speculative arguments are mundane. Since mundane arguments cannot touch transcendental subject matters, one should not try to understand transcendental subjects through mundane arguments. When ordinary mundane intellects try to explain or interpret the identity or pastimes of Radha and Krishna, Krishna's unlimited nature bewilders them, and therefore they misconstrue everything. Thus, they sometimes consider Radha and Krishna to be like an ordinary boy and girl of the material world. But although they often pose as scholars, they do not know what they are talking about. One should therefore strictly avoid the confused mundane ideas of such blundering intellectuals. If one wishes to understand Radha and Krishna, one must understand them by hearing submissively from a bona fide authority. The original authority on Krishna is Krishna himself. Everyone is first an authority regarding his own self, and this is also true regarding Krishna. That is, if I have to tell myself I am the right person to tell about me, I would be the first authority regarding my own self. Likewise, regarding Krishna as well. Moreover, since Krishna is unlimited, no one else can understand him fully, because in my case, at least my parents know little more than what I know about myself, as I don't remember everything since my birth. But that's not true in case of Krishna, because Krishna is source of everything. He doesn't have a source. Therefore, no one else can understand him fully. This was also confirmed by Arjuna himself in the 10th chapter, 15th sloka. Swayam evatmanatmanam vetatvam purushottama bhuta bhavana bhutesha devadeva jagatpate. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, Origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. Although Krishna is inconceivable to mental speculation, those to whom he reveals himself can understand him. Krishna first gave such transcendental knowledge to Brahma, the first created living being. Brahma later transmitted this knowledge to his son Narada, who transmitted it to Vyasa, the author of Bhagavad Gita. In this way, the knowledge has descended from master to disciple through a chain of disciplic succession, even down to the present day. A spiritual master in this disciplic line is a bona fide authority regarding Krishna. He is the proper person from whom to receive transcendental knowledge. The reciprocation of love between Radha and Krishna is the essence of spiritual love, because Krishna is the origin of everything. He is the origin of love also. The attraction between boys and girls in the material world is a perverted reflection of the purely spiritual relationship between Radha and Krishna. One who thinks he can be happy through material sexual enjoyment cannot understand the relationship between Radha and Krishna. And conversely, if one hears about Radha and Krishna from a bona fide spiritual master, his material sexual desires evaporate. In the material world, although one may profess true love, inwardly one's real desire is to enjoy his own senses. We love someone as long as he or she satisfies our senses, and when such sensual pleasure dwindles, the so-called love dwindles with it. Thus, the love affair ends in separation or divorce. But pure devotees of Krishna on the spiritual platform have no desires to please themselves. They desire only to please Lord Krishna. This is true unalloyed love. What we speak of as love in the material world is actually lust, or a desire to serve oneself. It has no permanent basis. Today I love one girl, tomorrow another, according to my changing fancy. Indeed, although a boy and girl may change sexual partners as often as dogs and cats do, in our modern idiom we refer their sexual intercourse as love-making, as though the gross friction of two hot bodies could generate love. We speak of love so easily, but really in this material world there is no love. It is all lust. The difference between love and lust is like the difference between gold and iron. Both gold and iron are metals, but otherwise they are not at all alike. The conditioned souls in the material world are generally misdirected and frustrated in love because they try to get pleasure by satisfying their material bodily senses. They do not know that they are different from their bodies. The body is always changing from childhood to youth to old age, but the same person is always present in each body. He identifies himself as an American or Englishman or Jew or a Christian, a boy or a girl, according to his body. But that body is not himself. Therefore, no matter how diligently he tries to be happy by gratifying his bodily demands, he is never successful. Just as one cannot satisfy a bird by cleaning its cage and not feeding the bird itself, one cannot satisfy his physical senses. Besides that, the more one tries to satisfy the senses, the more they demand. Indulgence cannot satisfy the senses any more than gasoline can extinguish a fire. Trying to smother one's anxiety with the gasoline of sense gratification will only ignite an explosion. Therefore, by trying to satisfy his material desires for sensual enjoyment, the poor conditioned soul merely increases his desire, but not his satisfaction. He becomes a servant of the senses, working hard to fulfill hankerings that can never be fulfilled. To find real pleasure, one must find real love, and for this one must love Krishna. To be truly happy, one must engage in Krishna's devotional service. Such devotional service is under the control of Srimati Radharani. She is the preceding deity of devotional service. Because she is very merciful, devotees especially take advantage of her merciful nature to attain the service of Krishna. Indeed, although engagement in pure devotional service is rarely achieved, one can achieve it very easily by the grace of Srimati Radharani. So we can understand from this how Srimati Radharani's grace works upon us. We have to be very thankful when we receive a service opportunity. We should see that as a grace of Srimati Radharani. Continuing the article, Bhagavad Gita confirms that those who are truly Mahatmas, great souls, take shelter of Krishna's Dhaivi Prakriti or spiritual energy, Srimati Radharani. Always chanting my glories, Lord Krishna declares, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Bhagavad Gita 9.14. This devotional service is not an activity of the material world. It is fully spiritual because it is directly under the control of Krishna's spiritual energy, Srimati Radharani. To perform devotional service, one should follow in the footsteps of Srimati Radharani by performing pure devotional service to Krishna, without any concern for material profit. But one should not worship Krishna alone. Krishna is not complete without Srimati Radharani, as the sun is not complete without the sunshine. One should therefore worship both Radha and Krishna, for together they are the complete absolute truth. So what has been mentioned is the samslesham. In the case of Ravana, he could have been saved if Mother Sita was with Rama. That one missing factor killed him. Continuing the article, actually worshipping Radharani is better than worshipping Krishna. More precisely, one can best worship Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through Srimati Radharani, his supreme pleasure energy. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9.26, if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. But rather than offer a flower directly to Krishna, better to offer the flower to Srimati Radharani, requesting, my dear Radharani, please recommend me to your Krishna. That would be the right approach to approach Krishna. Krishna is the supreme controller, yet he is controlled by the pure devotion of Srimati Radharani. Krishna is therefore also known as the property of Radharani. If one can please Radharani, therefore one can very easily please Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani has the vision of a most highly elevated devotee. Thus, she sees everyone equally. If anyone approaches her to serve Krishna, even if he is the most fallen, she immediately bestows her mercy upon him by recommending to Krishna, O Krishna, here is a devotee, he is better than me. Because Srimati Radharani is always absorbed in thought of Krishna, she is very dear to Krishna. Therefore, if one tries in this way to reach Krishna through Radharani, he will surely be successful. Now the question comes, how can we learn to serve Radha and Krishna? Let's see the answer. To be able to serve Radha and Krishna, one must first approach a bona fide spiritual master. Krishna has two energies, material and spiritual. The spiritual energy is full of eternal bliss and knowledge, whereas the material energy causes ignorance, misery and death. Although we are all originally spiritual, unfortunately we are now engrossed in the material energy. Because of illusion, however, we do not remember our real position, nor do we know how to return to the spiritual world. Therefore, Krishna personally descends to this material world to attract us by exhibiting his transcendental pastimes and by speaking the message of Bhagavad Gita for our enlightenment. But Krishna returned to his abode 5,000 years ago. Does this mean we can no longer approach him? No. In his absence, we may approach him through his representative, the spiritual master. The spiritual master is a mercy incarnation of God. Because Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, approaching him is difficult. But he is also most compassionate, and out of his compassion, he empowers his pure devotees to bring back home, back to Godhead, the fallen souls who have forgotten him. Srimati Radharani, the tender-hearted female counterpart of Lord Krishna, represents his compassionate nature. Therefore, the spiritual master, who compassionately appears in the material world for the sake of the fallen souls, is considered a representative of Srimati Radharani. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one can attain the mercy of Krishna. There is no alternative means for success. Without the mercy of the spiritual master, one cannot make any progress in devotional service. This is the opinion of all bona fide authorities on devotional life. The spiritual master trains his disciples in such a way that they can become free from bondage to material consciousness, engage in devotional service, and thus gradually develop pure love of God. The spiritual master has the responsibility of scientifically engaging such disciple in a practical manner. Among the many different paths for the attainment of spiritual realization, one needs the expert guidance of a bona fide spiritual master to understand which path to follow to make actual progress toward the supreme goal. In our modern age, the most recommended process for perfection is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna and Rama are names of the Lord, and Hare addresses Hara, the pleasure potency of the Lord, Srimati Radharani. As living spiritual souls, we are originally spiritual energy, but somehow or other we have now fallen into this material world of birth and death. But when we come under the shelter of the supreme spiritual energy, Srimati Radharani, we come to our happy normal position. Radharani is the potency who gives transcendental pleasure to Krishna. When the mercy of that potency is bestowed upon a living entity, it develops love of God and thus attains the highest pleasure. And he can also distribute that pleasure to others. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has introduced this process of chanting to the Western countries and spreading it all over the world. The chanting, he says, is exactly like the cry of a child for its mother's presence. Mother Hara, Srimati Radharani, helps the devotee achieve the Lord Father's grace, and the Lord reveals himself to the devotee who chants this mantra sincerely. From this article, we can understand Srimati Radharani and her compassion towards us and how she recommends us to her Krishna by attracting him. And we also learned Krishna's attraction towards Srimati Radharani is not the same as the attractions of this world. It is completely transcendental. This article also helped us to summarize whatever we learned in this sloka, sloka 66, very nicely. We surrender unto the Lord by approaching a bona fide spiritual master and take initiation from him and learn about devotional service, learn about Radha and Krishna, and engage in devotional service and perform bhakti in the mood of servant of the divine couple, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. In this way, Srimati Radharani recommends us to her beloved Krishna, and Krishna accepts us. To conclude, Purushakaram is a recommendation done by the Lord Consort to her husband to accept the Chetanas. Purushakaram has three Lakshanam: Kripa, Paratantriyam, Ananyarham. Purushakaram is effective both during Samslesha and Vishlesha. In Samslesha, she corrects her husband. In Vishlesha, she corrects the Jivatma. When both the instruction doesn't work, she corrects the Jivatma with her Kataksham, and she corrects her husband by her beauty. One last question before we conclude this session. The scriptures do not always refer to the divine couple, but only to the Lord. Then why is that we need to include and worship Mother Goddess? The answer is, wherever the scriptures refer to the Lord, it should be taken as referring to both. For the sake of convenience, they have divided among themselves the various qualities and responsibilities. The Lord has such masculine qualities like independence, power to extinguish the wicked, firmness, etc., while Mother Goddess is the personification of patience, forbearance, tenderness, and other feminine qualities, chief of which is mercy or compassion, with which she prevails upon the Lord to spare the rod and accept the surrendered soul and admit him into the spiritual world. With this, we complete the subject on Purushakaram. In our next session, we will circle back to the Charma Slokam and go through word by word one more time and conclude Sloka 66. Thank you. Hare Krishna.